All right, I think we're live now. So
Are we? Should I stop?
yeah,
Should I stop tweeting?
Stop texting
Stop
for this
texting.
one
Stop
moment.
sexting?
Stop sexting. Stop
Mom, I
swiping
wasn't
right.
doing that. I promise. I was not doing that.
Happy Wednesday. We have seen I'm Chris Bedford, by the way, at the Daily Caller News Foundation. We have Katie Watson here joining us as well as Christian Day Talk. And we've seen in the last 2 days something a little new in the White House. Maybe something a little presidential.
Some might call it that.
Donald Trump's gone through
I think
like
we're
the
calling it
normal
that.
things that
Sure.
a Republican president does. He's prayed in public.
Except for having his whole, cabinet selection confirmed.
Oh yeah.
Other than that.
Democrats are
It's
still being
coming along.
Democrats.
Yeah.
He gave a normal speech, like an actually kind of pretty along the traditional line speech for introducing his new Supreme Court nominee, Gorsuch, and today he was out. He's got a new cabinet secretary. He's got Rex Tillerson now.
Just
Officially
confirmed.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Justin, breaking.
Within the hour, this past
30
hour, I
minutes
believe.
ago
Yeah,
or so.
not even.
So if you hadn't heard that, you heard it here. We have a new Secretary
Exclusive.
of State.
We're the first to have it.
Now,
Definitely.
so let's start with you, Katie. Who would win in a fight? Mitt Romney or Rex Tillerson? No, not Mitt Romney. You know
Ooh.
what? John Kerry. That's a closer one.
Ooh.
John Kerry. Well, let's see. Tillerson has just a little bit of an age advantage. Kerry is getting up there, although I'm very impressed with
Muppets
how well.
might age differently, though, like dog years or something.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
know
sure.
what? I think Tillerson seems to have a little bit more force to him. So
I think Tillerson would break him in
Seems
half.
full of vitality.
I would probably, I would definitely put my money on Tillerson if I had to choose between the two.
He seems like a very angry Texas oil man.
Texas oil
And I
man
don't know
versus
why.
skinny windsurfer.
Yeah.
I think it'd be
Cyclist enthusiast.
Also
Yeah,
described as
cyclist,
a statesman by
Francophile.
some, though, so maybe he knows when to hold his temper and not break out into a fight. But
No, but the
see.
fight's
We'll see.
happening. I mean,
Okay.
it's on. It's
Yeah.
happening.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. This is
Celebrity
Trump
death
winning.
match.
I would kind of appreciate Trump, actually, if he started doing things like that. Like, hey, I'm going to choose my next selection for, my cabinet pick, although he pretty much has everyone picked out at this point. But I would have really appreciated him if he'd been like, hey, I can't decide between the two of you, so just go at it and we'll see who wins.
If he brought them, because there was a rumor yesterday that he'd actually brought in Neil Gorsuch's competitor, the other Supreme Court possible nominee who didn't end up getting the job, that they were both in Washington. It turned out that he didn't actually make it. But imagine if they both met there. Donald Trump's sitting there in the Oval Office, and he goes, the good news is I want to offer one of you guys a job. I have a job in my organization. But then he breaks a pool stick in half and throws it on the ground.
Puts
And
it
it's
out
like,
there.
there's only one
There's
opening.
only one opening.
There's only one.
Now accepting applicants.
Fight. And just made them battle it out in the Oval Office. And you'd be able to catch glimpses of it through the windows if you had a good enough camera.
Well,
yeah.
the pool reporter has a camera there.
Oh, yeah, the
So,
pool
I mean,
reporter,
we
pool stick
broadcast it
fight.
live.
That'd be perfectly poetic.
I'd love that.
It'd be great. And then the guy who lost would kind of do a Mitt Romney
Well, he'd be dead, so-
walkout
Yeah, he'd be dead.
with
Yeah.
a picture.
Yeah, like a Mitt-
you still roll him out in a gurney.
He would do like a
Yeah,
big
it'd be like the old
and
Clinton
getting
White
dropped
House.
off the
You
helicopter.
just roll the bodies out the
walk
back in that food cart.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd be easy.
That's what it's there
Good
for.
photo ops,
That's
though.
how it's used.
You got to demonstrate power and all of that.
But so let's talk seriously about the Supreme Court nominee, Gorsuch. Something weird's going on. Liberals aren't freaking out. But so far, a couple senators have gone crazy. We'll talk about them. But the New York Times had an article from one of Obama's justice appointees saying liberals actually shouldn't oppose this. Slate had an article out, left-wing crazies at Slate that said, actually, he's not such a bad guy. Do you think they've just been so beaten into submission that they're not willing to fight, or what's going on here?
I think they're sort of being realistic on this one. I mean, he's definitely a constitutional conservative. He is
Rock
pretty
ribbed.
far right on, abortion, and his past statements and writings on gay marriage are clearly conservative leaning. But he's sort of viewed as a mild-tempered guy. He seems reasonable. He's clearly very smart. And I think liberals are just kind of saying, well, you know what? We're not going to get what we wanted. We're not going to get Ruth Bader Ginsburg 2.0.
Yeah,
So we'll take it,
Yeah, he's really the best that Democrats could hope
It's
for.
kind
the
of
liberals
weird
could hope
that
for.
the liberal, intellectual elite, the journalists, are coming around sooner than the party leaders. And you
Yeah.
had Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin, Dianne Feinstein.
Well,
they
they had
all
like a
voted
film-
for this guy in 2006.
Yeah, they did a voice vote.
Yeah. And, some of them are saying, oh, who can remember how you voted during, a vocal vote?
Yeah, who
That's
knows?
cool.
Who
Like,
knows?
yeah.
I mean,
as soon as they saw his name on the list, they're like, oh, I voted yes for this guy.
I think they might have just had like a fill-in-the-blank tweet ready and statements ready that were like, Donald Trump's nominee, fill-in name, is extreme and hates the Constitution, enemy of the people.
Is bad.
Is bad.
Sad.
And like they just waited and they put in the name and they hit send. And I know a lot of these people had statements ready because I got a text
yeah.
message.
Oh, yeah. I got about 30 emails at 8:07.
And I got
Right,
a
within
text
the
from
first
someone
few
in the
minutes.
Hill who said, "Thank God it was Gorsuch, or I was going to have to leave this bar and go back to work."
It'd be really funny if
to
there
leave the bar.
was
I
kind
know.
of, if there was some sort of, if those statements were all prepared in advance, but a bunch of places forgot to like change the name. They thought it was going to be someone else, and so all
We
started
get like a
tweeting
Madam
out.
President moment.
Yeah, it'd be pretty awesome. And then
Newsweek's cover, Madam
everybody has
President.
to apologize, and it's awkward.
I think I agree with you guys. I think that this is the best they can hope for.
Oh, definitely.
And some people are actually excited that this guy's like Scalia, because Scalia, even though he was a rock-ribbed conservative, was also someone who stood up for privacy in the home, which is something that the right and the left can agree on, and also was a check on the U.S. government, either party, and Congress on saying, "Hold on, guys, you've gone too far with your power." So they're like, he's not a psychopath as far as we can tell. All the brain signs check out, so we'd better just confirm him and not waste political capital on that.
Yeah.
To your point, Chris, about not wasting political capital, do we see them, we've seen Trump reportedly told Ted Cruz and some of the other congressional Republicans that, the nuclear option is on the table if the Dems try and block this. Do you think we see that happening? Or are they just conceding and they're going to push him through, kind of like what we saw with Tillerson today? And Betsy DeVos actually also earlier, but I mean...
Yeah, for education, now some Republicans are coming out
I mean,
against it.
the backlash against her was insane last week.
Yeah,
I
she's
thought she
definitely
actually
the most
wasn't going
in
to get
trouble,
through. But,
sure.
we'll see. I don't know. Are they just backing off?
If the Democrats actually back off, I don't think they'll use the nuclear option on this. But I'm pretty sure that they're completely ready to do it. So the conservative point against making a 51-vote nomination official is that it takes away the power of the Senate, and it really does. The Senate's really supposed to be a place where people come to agreement, and you slow it down. It's the cooling chamber. The problem with them restoring this and bringing back the old Senate rules is the Democrats have already shown that the Easter Bunny's not real. This was only a matter of decorum. Like, you can't slap somebody. Well, I just did it. So now the Republicans got to be like, all right, well, we can restore this power, but what's to stop the Democrats from just undoing it next time they're in power? They've already shown that they're willing to do it.
Well, the way they're acting, they're never going to get in power again. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, but everybody says that. At the beginning of Obama,
Yeah.
at the beginning of Bush, it's like the end of the Democrats. Yeah, well, they came back after Bush and absolutely wrecked house. So with the nuclear option, I think they'll use it. The Republicans will, if they have to. Mike Lee at a Koch seminar I was at this past weekend, reported from. Got a lot of stories to you guys from there. Said, I guarantee that not Donald Trump will get his Supreme Court nominations. Should the Republicans even think about putting this back in the bag, or should they just say, screw you, Dems, we win?
I mean, I don't think there's really anything holding them back at this point from just doing everything that they have to do to get him in, especially since if Democrats can't come up with really valid arguments against him, I think at this point, honestly, probably the biggest frustration or argument that Dems have is that, hey, Republicans, you held up for a year, Merrick Garland, we're
That's
still
it. That's
pissed
all I have.
over that.
Yeah.
But if they can't come up with any specific legitimate criticisms against him, then Republicans are just going to say, well, what are you doing? You're holding up the process. Now we're going to go through with it.
No, I agree with you. I don't think there are any rational arguments to be made. Last night, Nancy Pelosi, who we all love and cherish, goes on CNN and tells her live town hall and Jake Tapper that if you breathe and if you drink water and if you like to take medicine, then this guy is terrible for you. Just trust me, believe me. And then didn't give any answers, and Jake Tapper kind of pushed her a little bit and said,
If you breathe?
Well, what specifically? No, she literally
Oh,
said,
because
if you
of
breathe
EPA
air.
crap?
Yeah.
That's BS.
And, just...
Oh, my gosh.
There is no reasonable argument against him. And so, I don't know. I think they should toe the line and confirm him and save what goodwill they still have within the party and among the undecided voters.
So Democrats have also shown, and we were talking about this a little before we started filming, that they're totally willing to be unreasonable.
Yeah.
And after Donald Trump's travel ban on a bunch of countries in Africa and the Middle East, we saw days of chaos. Now, if you guys out there, and we all do, hate the traffic jams that liberal protesters start, wait till you're trying to get in an airplane, and there's tens of thousands of them stopping you because someone from Libya can't get into New York.
One guy.
Imagine how ticked off you'd be. I think it might be overreach. I think the rest of the country is kind of watching, but you guys disagreed? Is it necessary to shut down the airports and to take to the streets and attack
No, it's
people
not
again?
necessary at all. And this, I mean, those people don't even know what they're protesting. You guys probably are going to think I'm very lowbrow and not cultured for
No.
what I'm about to say. But
Culture?
I watched the Barstool Super Bowl special, or whatever they want to call it, Barstool Sports, an online fratty publication. They were broadcasting live from the Super Bowl in Houston. And they had this video of this guy, they call their fans stoolies, coming back. He flew back from, I can't remember which country, and he gets back in the country, and there's all these protesters out there. And, they see him, and he's kind of tan, he's darkish, and, he rips his shirt off and, starts swinging around. All these people are cheering just this fat, drunk guy from Boston, thinking he's a refugee. And that summed it up to me perfectly. It's like these people have no idea what's going on.
Woo!
They're just cheering because
Pretty good.
Rachel Maddow and everybody is telling them to do it.
But if you turn on the television, you'd think that the entire country is in uproars. That all of you out there watching, all of us here, everyone in D.C., California, Boston, New York, are flipping out, and there's mass hysteria. Now, we were flying. I was looking out the window yesterday, coming from California, and I was just thinking, I bet if you
Humble
did a
brag.
poll of there's windows on planes. There weren't two. If you did a poll of the entire country and said, do you care that the people from Libya can't come to the United States? And we won't tell anyone what you said. This opinion is held silently. I would probably say 75% of America doesn't give any shits.
Oh, definitely not.
But a
there's
very
only
vocal
people
group
on the
does.
coast. It's, the liberal, elite urban centers.
No, you can
It's
disagree
DC,
with
it's
us
New
here.
York.
Sure, I
It's
mean,
LA.
Say we're monsters.
I think it could have been
Katie's a
done.
left coaster.
Oh yeah, California, beautiful state, terrible mess. It certainly could have been done a little bit better. It wasn't executed as well
No,
as it could have
sloppy
been,
as
as
hell.
orderly as it could have been.
Yeah.
Incredibly sloppy. I think the Trump administration has learned from that. But yeah, I think certainly if it had been done in a little bit more of an orderly fashion, there would be vast support for it.
Well, I think it's like, well, if you're the executive of a company, you don't have, you can make an order and it gets done, and all of your golf club managers are not going to get interviewed and swamped by the press the next day.
Yeah.
I was with a bunch of senators and governors, and they were terrified of it. We asked one of the reporters asked Mike Lee, "What do you think about this travel ban?" And he was like, "I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not ready." And they were like, "Here's an opportunity to tell the
That's
press."
surprising. One of the biggest, America first.
He just didn't know what the
Yeah.
heck to say. He wasn't prepared. And he was like, I wasn't aware that I was going to lose my First Amendment rights when I walked out of here. I could talk about it whenever I want. And he kind of left. And he was
I see
obviously
that.
annoyed. And they're probably right to be annoyed because all these senators and governors are just, having their breakfast. Maybe or issued later, so maybe lunch or dinner. And suddenly there's hundreds of reporters being like, back up what Trump just did.
It's like,
And none of them had any idea it was coming.
What did he just do?
Well,
Yeah.
what did he
Did he
do?
do something?
Right.
Yeah. I
So-
don't know.
You never know.
There needs to be some more organization. I think he just got a good lesson in corporate leadership
Yeah.
is different from executive leadership.
Oh, definitely.
Completely.
And
Well, I mean,
someone
that's
was-
the main knock against Trump is, a lot of people would agree with what he's saying if you could say it in a more nuanced way, or if you could use subtlety at all. But
I kind of like it when he doesn't.
I mean, that's why
I mean,
he got
does he
elected.
ever?
Yeah.
It's
He did a
shocking
little
when
bit
he
for
does.
last night. He gave a
He does it when he's
presidential
being
speech.
funny, which is surprising, I think.
He is funny. He's a really funny guy. And he's definitely shown that he's capable of it. And this is a good way, the Supreme Court nomination, getting his Secretary of State to kind of right the
Sure.
ship a little bit. And for years, you guys have watched and we've watched as Democrats would do something that was bungled and kind of stupid. I actually agree with most of the travel ban, but he didn't roll it out well. It was badly put forward. And then they'd be perfectly in the sights of the Republicans to slam them, but instead the Republicans would go way too far, they'd reach too far, and then make complete asses of themselves. And I think we just saw that with the Democrats. Like, Trump showed the first weakness he's shown in the 10 days of his presidency, and the Democrats tripped over the wire, broke all the china in the House, and now you're giving them first aid. It didn't really, I've done this obviously, right?
A few times, apparently.
I never got first aid though. Maybe a Call
Just a
Dr.
few beers.
Daytalk to come down.
Yeah.
Hey, your dad's a doctor, right? How do I stop my head from bleeding?
I don't know.
Don't start it bleeding in the
I did
first
stay at a
place.
Holiday Inn
Yeah, but
Express
guys
last
do
night.
that. Guys get heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Battle wounds and such.
Yeah, scars.
Manly things. Manly things.
But
Yes.
some of the guys in his
Scars
White
are
House
important.
are, they're new to this too. There's a lot of amateurs in there.
Most of them are new.
So Steve Bannon, a publisher,
Mhm.
he's never been an advisor to a president before.
Certainly not.
Steve Miller, 31 years old. He's like a few months
Well,
older
he does
than me.
have legislative experience. He used
Yeah,
to
but he
work
worked for Senator Sessions,
Yeah.
who was, he's a great senator, but he was always on his own. Almost
Right.
always.
Sure.
He wasn't making decisions that actually affected people outside of his state, and he had to put together coalitions. Now these guys, who never really had to answer to anyone, are advising Donald Trump, who's never really had to answer to anyone.
Not even really. Never had to answer anyone.
Yeah.
Ever.
And
about
sometimes
anything.
things are going to not go out so well.
Yeah, I
We'll
think,
see.
I think that the administration learned from the rollout of the travel ban. I think, there are going to be some missteps along the way because it's, it's new, like you said, to many people running the White House. But, I think that they have a lot of support for what they're doing, and they're just going to keep learning and,
They just have to be
Hopefully
smart
keep
about it.
getting better.
And,
Yeah.
and they didn't run scared. They're like, we're sticking with this because it was a good policy.
right.
And in the
smart.
background, they're probably like, come on, guys, we got to have a better plan next time.
Oh,
We're going to have the
fudge.
greatest plan. You're going to be tired of planning. It's such a good
It'll
plan.
be such a good plan, believe me. I love plans.
Only
I love
winning
plans. But this
plans.
plan,
The winningest plans.
I don't know. I think we'll see the administration learn and continue to try and institute all these things that Trump has promised, which, say what you want about the ban or whatever you call it or whatever.
the travel ban.
But he said he was going to do this, and he did it. He said he was going to cut regulations,
Yeah.
hemorrhaging money from small businesses. He did it. He said he was going to go out and bring jobs back from American manufacturers, and
He's doing everything he said he would.
he's at least laid the groundwork to do that. I don't know. I think it'll be good. They're going to learn how to do things better, which actually kind of something that I just forgot about right now. But today, one of the reasons people were freaking out about Trump's decisions was that Sean Spicer said, "Hey, it's 2017. We've had video chat for 20 years. Why don't we bring it into the White House press briefing?" And they, dropped 4 questions from reporters, local affiliates from across the country. One was in Rhode Island, one was in Cleveland, and 2 others are escaping me right now. But the mainstream media, the traditional press is freaking out about this. But it's something that they talked about doing in the late days of the campaign, and then especially after he got elected, was that, people think D.C. is this tight-knit cabal who has no idea what's going on with the rest of with the rest of the country.
It's totally true, by the way.
Why don't we bring in people from around the country to let them know what's going on with the administration? And they did that. And it's working well. Well, I don't know if it worked well, but there were no, technological hiccups.
It did look weird to have the 2 screens. If you guys watch,
It was a little bizarre.
if you haven't seen it, you'll see it on your screens at some point. It's probably going to replay for a
Go
while.
check it out on our website.
they-
No big deal.
I didn't know that they were announcing this. So I think my quote was, "What the hell is going on MSNBC right now?" We watch MSNBC in our office, and Fox Business, and even fake news CNN.
Sometimes.
And there were 2 heads behind Spicer. And it seemed like there was a reporter talking.
Yeah.
And then he needs to figure out where he's going to look when he answers.
Yeah.
Because then he's just kind of talking to an empty room. That was a
people
little
who-
funny looking.
But again, that's the point. It's new, but they'll figure it out.
They're figuring it out. They'll get a hold on it. So I mean, personally, on that, I think it's great that they're opening it up to other media outlets, other perspectives from
Yeah,
around the
I
country. It's a
agree.
really good thing. I mean, if we learned anything from this election, it's that Washington doesn't listen
That they're
to
not only do they
places
don't
beyond
listen,
its
but they're just
borders,
totally
so-
Yeah.
out of touch.
exactly.
We're going to
going
talk
on
to
with
conservative
America.
media, like Daily Caller and IJ and LifeSet and Breitbart that they've talked to.
Yep.
And we're going to talk to local affiliates. And we're going to go around fake news CNN.
It's not like they're totally barring these outlets from the presser. They're there. I mean, the AP got the first question, I think, Monday. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. But they're getting good
Well, don't worry,
questions.
you didn't say it in a public forum.
MSNBC has 2 White House correspondents out there.
Yeah.
It's
They
all
may be
right.
butthurt that they're not going to be asked on quite as much, but hey, it's a good thing opening it up. Everybody should get a chance.
People want to change. They've wanted change for the last 10 years. And maybe now we're actually might get some.
So let's do this parting thought
That was
before
bad.
That was bad. That was bad. Rough. Ooh.
It's okay.
Hope and change. Let's do this parting thought. Every time for the last 8 years a Muslim terrorist has blown something up, the Democrats have said, not all Muslims. shot up that nightclub. Not all Muslims blew up your Christmas party or ran it over with a truck. You think Donald Trump should try that? Not all Muslims just got banned.
Ooh,
It's really only
that's not a bad
it's
idea.
a billion people out there. It's just a small group of countries. And be
Yeah.
like, Democrats, you were discriminating against people who didn't get banned.
I think you just wrote Donald Trump's next tweet.
Oh, yeah, maybe I'll be...
He's definitely watching this, by the way.
Maybe you should tweet that to him and, see if he picks up your idea.
Yeah,
I will if you don't
courtesy
want
of
to.
Jim Treacher.
I love that.
Well, you guys didn't even have a beer today, and I'm out of
No.
beer, so we'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you Friday, and we're going to bring back another one of our Yaxie guests on Friday to talk to you from someplace around Washington, D.C.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we got Christian
Good times.
Daytalk, Watson, and Chris Bedford right here.